deep down, we were always trying to change each other. Deep, deep, deep down. Even though I was telling myself, oh, no, it's fine. I was always doing little shit to try to like sway him one way or prove my opinion or prove my intelligence or prove this. He would do the same thing to me. And a relationship should not be like that.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Hotter Than Health. We have part 2 with the lovely Brittany Carden. We are going to quickly jump into the end of where we left off in part 1 from last week. We finish up the story about her relationship, what she truly discovered, and what I really gleaned from this from a health and wellness perspective is the concept of having a strong foundation and small things in life will shake you less, whether it is your faith, your spirituality, whether it is your family, your friends, your health. All of these pillars in our life create the biggest substance and the biggest foundation. And when those are rock solid and you can land with 2 feet stably on the ground with your relationships or your friendships or your health, then the small stuff won't rock you as much. And we talk a lot about foundation within this episode. So whether you're dealing with health, you are dealing with family, friends, love, relationship, marriage, kids, the advice remains the same, is to focus on the foundation. And that's trust that is advice that I am taking to heart, and it's much easier said than done. I do believe that foundationally, I do believe you can work on foundations, though. I believe you can work on foundations. We jump into the end of part 2, or the end of part 1, finishing up that conversation, and then we jump right into our rapid fire. We have our rapid fire questions where they don't necessarily go all the way rapid, but this conversation goes everywhere. We talk a little bit about aliens. We talk about raw milk. We talk about digestion and having a good morning conference call. We talk about healthy recipes. We talk about Brittany's day-to-day, what she's consuming. We talk about all or nothing attitudes towards food. We talk about best fitness gear for people with, who don't need as much support with the sports bras, and then with more voluptuous bodies, like what brands are working for different bodies. And that is what I think is so cool. FYI, we touch on not necessarily my opinions, but I just like an open dialogue. I like discourse that is respectful. I like people who listen. I like people who speak boldly, but with respect. And that's what we did here. This is not a conversation that you have to fully agree with everything that is said, but it is a conversation that you can just listen to and take what you like, leave what you don't. You might glean a little bit and see some of yourself through this conversation. You might see different perspectives, and that is all good. However, this is simply a conversation between 2 friends who want to learn from each other, and we're all going through different things in life that are going to really lead us into different rabbit holes. We're going to we're going to want to hear different things. We're going to want to see different things and poke in different directions. So I'm excited that we can all have an assortment of opinions, and it makes up a beautiful cornucopia of life, but it's all just about how you say it. Can you say it with respect? Can you listen? Can you close your mouth for a minute and listen? Overall, Brittany speaks with boldness. She is a powerful, energetic, truly beautiful soul, and I'm very happy that she was on the podcast this week. I hope you enjoy part two and are ready and going for our next episode next week. But let's jump right into it for part two with Brittany Carden.
And so, when we were breaking up, he was really confused, rightfully so, because I think one thing also to shed light on, women a lot of the times are checked out before the man, but
Like
we stay.
emotionally checked out.
Yes. And that kind of was happening to me like when I was in Utah. Like I just was like, I was checking out every single time I cried, every single time I was stressed, every single time I whatever. I was checking out in my relationship. So then by the time I got to Whitefish and I actually communicated to him, because not my strong suit, he was like, what? He was like so taken off guard and like so surprised and blah, 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 blah. And that wasn't fair to him. I definitely could have been better about that. But when we finally sat down and he had time to think and I had time to think, we came to the conclusion that our relationship was like doomed from the start because of so many moral, ethical, deep beliefs that like I'm 31 and I've now created this like I'm currently creating and it's finally like taking form, this like beautiful life for myself, this like bubble that like I don't really even want to let anyone into it because I don't want them to fuck it up, like,
Yeah.
but it made me see how important, like I was kind of talking about with the business relationship and the romantic relationship, you need to have these certain conversations because I know this segues us into like something totally different, but like I said, our relationship was doomed from the start because we have such different belief systems, completely different belief systems. And he always thought deep, deep, deep down that I was stupid and uneducated. And he told me this to my face, when we were having a really like beautiful talk afterward. He was like, I looked down on you. Like I thought you were stupid. I thought that you were ignorant. I thought that you were, because you were not the majority, that you were just being stubborn and difficult because I've always been a little stubborn.
Mm.
And we always thought about things, even like raising our dog. Like it was so different. Like I'll just say,
Mm.
I was like, I'm never getting my dog vaccinated ever. And he didn't, we didn't agree. We didn't agree there. And
Ooh, a
so
little foreshadowing, if you will.
but we just had these really, really, really big systemic differences that were shaping his behavior toward me in the relationship, how I thought about him. It influenced our sex life. It influenced so many things that I didn't even realize until finally there was nothing left to lose and all of the walls stripped down. And we were finally like, wow, we actually see that like we've been on this rocky terrain and we just brushed it under the rug and we're just sitting on rocks.
By doing
There was
fun things and like you got a dog and you did the house and you moved all these different places. It's like you never really got
yeah,
grounded together because maybe it was a little bit of avoidance. That's so interesting.
it was
Was the
100% avoidant. Avoid, 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 avoid,
was
avoid.
the big foundational thing, were there more things, or was that like the big thing that bled into everything else?
It was the foundation of the house. It was completely the foundation of the house. And without that solid foundation, that was what the house was built on. The relationship was built on. And
Like
because
him
it,
thinking you were ignorant and then you thinking that he would change, or like all of these things that we tell ourselves. Interesting. Okay.
yes.
Hmm.
And deep down, we were always trying to change each other. Deep, deep, deep down. Even though I was telling myself, oh, no, 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 it's fine. I was always doing little shit to try to like sway him one way or prove my opinion or prove my intelligence or prove this. And he would do the same thing to me. And a relationship should not be like that.
Yeah,
It
like
has,
that's just it. How long can you really, how long can anyone keep up that facade?
for me, it was 3 years. And I
So okay,
gotcha.
some for some it's just 3 years, and but others their cards show really really quick. And I think that also when you're so in this place of seeking love and comfort, and you're starting to find yourself, and like you feel confident, you don't want to shake that. You're like, I don't want to stir the pot. I'm really enjoying this right now. Just like let me be happy, let me be calm. And then you realize like, oh, we're getting in pretty deep here. Maybe we should address those big things. But by then it's like, oh, a year has gone by and all this shit has happened. And here's what I'll say, and this is where I want to end before we get to part two. When your sister said you are the worst version of yourself, I, to me, if my sister said that to me, I would feel like I was getting hit by a train. So was that tough?
Oh my God. Like I I was so I don't remember the exact verbiage she used. It was something, if she listens to this, she probably will. But it was she said something along those lines. I don't remember. I kind of like blacked that out. But it
Hmm.
was long. She approached me and she was like, are you happy? Like,
She's like, what are you doing?
what are you doing? Yeah. And I mean, it was like a fucking punch to the gut. Yeah. Because also my sister has been someone who she ain't filtering shit. So I know if it's coming from her, she's calling it how it is, you
Mm.
know?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the sister is the therapist, let's just be honest. And I'm not saying it's always right by any means, but like it's hard not to take your sister's advice seriously.
Totally. Hmm.
Thank God you have her. And thank God you have your community in Whitefish. Okay,
Hmm.
here's three things that we still need to talk about.
Okay. Fire 'em away.
We need to talk about conspiracy theories. We need to talk about raw milk and your lifestyle, your actual lifestyle. We need to talk about beat-based fitness and your whole business. Would you be open to doing a part two so that we can have all of these stories in one container?
Oh my God, yes. Let's talk everything conspiracy theory. I love it. Let's dive in. Raw milk, unpasteurize me. Unpasteurize me.
Unpasteurized. That's what we're going to call unfiltered and unpasteurized. That's what we're calling this episode. Unpasteurized with Brittany Carden. Okay, we're going to do a second part. We're going to do a part two that's going to follow this, and I'll get with you and schedule that for next week and or at some point next week. But what I do want to do is make sure that if you're listening to this now, go on and where can people find beat-based fitness, and can they go ahead and use the code so that they can use your digital platform?
Absolutely. So right now I mainly work with studio owners and I mainly work with other instructors teaching their students or teaching them how to teach. Um, but I do have a digital library if you want to sweat with me digitally. If you're not in Whitefish, Montana, which I know a lot of you aren't, you can go to my website. It's www.thisisbrittanycarden.com. I'm in the middle of a rebrand. And you can click the Sweat with Me digital studio. The code HTH will give you a forever discounted membership, 20% off. So,
Amazing.
yeah,
20%. Dang, girl. Thank you.
of course. So,
Oh, I
yeah,
can't wait
go.
to check it out. Brittany, I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end. I could seriously talk to you for 56 hours,
I could
and
talk to you forever. I love
it's
it.
amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait for part two because this it's
This
gonna go
built into
everywhere.
part two. We had to talk about this to eventually talk about part two. Part two is just the most juicily unpasteurized. It's so juicily unpasteurized.
So unpasteurized. You are amazing. You are a dream, and I'm so proud of you. Everything that you're doing is big, it's beautiful, and it is absolutely you're exactly where you need to be and doing exactly what you need to do.
Who are you? I love it.
Girl, we are trying. But thank you, and I'm just pick up your phone because I'm going to text you in a minute and we're going to figure out the next part two.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Bye.
Bye.
We had an entire story of relationships and friendships and love and loss, and then we ended with the dog. And we really, we have got to jump in to part two. Brittany Carden, for those who haven't listened to part one and you're skipping to part two, that's just a chaotic way to live. So please go back and listen to part one. But I prepped Brittany with a list of questions and I said, girl, come prepared. We need to spill. We need to hear your we need to hear all your raw milk theories. So for this rapid fire, we first have to know because you have been drinking raw milk out of a wine glass for the past couple of years. Please tell us, how did your raw milk experience begin? Tell me about what it's doing for you and all things raw milk, Brittany.
Oh my God, I'll make this as fast as I possibly can because I could
Don't.
say, I can talk about raw milk for days. Um, I learned about the healing and beautiful benefits of raw milk when I was going through, I kind of mentioned this in the first episode, all of my health issues, all my hormone issues. And my functional medicine doctor brought to light how awesome raw milk really was for the body. So I was a little skeptical even when so I was a skeptic too in the beginning.
What did you
Um,
think? Like, what were your skepticism? What was your thoughts?
I just kind of thought like I was so on the train that dairy was just not good. And anything, and even the raw milk, I wasn't so against it from an infection or from a warning label by the government standpoint, but I didn't really think about it enough. And then I just put it under that dairy umbrella, right? So, um, and I told myself, well, if I'm ever going to get raw milk, I would want to live in a place where I know that it's easy to access, where I know I was getting something good, et cetera, et cetera. So when I moved to Montana the first time, it was always kind of living rent free in the back of my head. You should drink raw milk. It always called to me a little bit ever since my functional doctor had introduced it to me. And so I looked up on this website, rawmilkmontana.com, found a farmer, went there, and I started drinking it. And with all the gut protocols that I did over the years, all the supplements, colonics, yes, I'm a big, big, big,
Oh, we're
big.
gonna get there.
Oh, but even so, I did everything under the goddamn sun because my gut tummy issues. Okay. This helped my stomach, my gut issues, my digestion more than anything when I started drinking it. And I was like, what is this shit? Like what? Like what? And then I
Wait, can you
really,
get specific? What did you notice was different? What was the biggest benefit that you could tell?
oh, my digestion. So I used to take a lot of Adderall, and Adderall was really the only thing that would stimulate my digestive system in the
Mhm.
morning to like have a bowel movement. And I've always been so sensitive with my tummy. Like if I didn't have what, as you call them, a conference call, if I
Mm.
didn't have a conference call in the morning, day ruined, day ruiner. Because,
Ugh.
if,
Ugh.
if you know, you know. And if
I
you don't
do.
know, I feel sorry for you. So then when I was getting off Adderall, that was also a big reason I was drawn to raw milk because I was like, if I'm going to drink dairy at all, I don't like just based on the knowledge that I got from my doctor. I was like, I really want to do like good, high quality dairy and explore what she had told me about raw milk. So I shit you not, it was I had better bowel movements than I did on the medicine on Adderall. Like full, sorry, I'm talking about
Come on,
literally
girl.
my intestines, but like full, complete bowel movements. I felt like I was empty every single morning. And it wasn't like I was being so strict with my diet and like so this and that. I'm telling you, it was the milk.
When you empty the tank, you know you emptied it.
You know
Like,
you empty it and you're in a good mood. You're in a good mood all
ugh.
day. You're more flexible, but that's a whole other tangent.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you got into raw milk to help heal your gut, and what's your protocol? If there's someone who's like, okay, it doesn't necessarily turn me on from a food, taste, digestion, like a physically digesting it standpoint, how do you drink it? You're not a doctor telling people how to drink it, but how do you personally drink it? Do you do just a little bit a day in your coffee? Like, how do you do it?
Oh my God. I operate in kind of like extremes.
Shocking.
I drink like about 14 to 15 ounces because I make a latte every morning. I'll do 4 ounces of espresso and I'll do 14 ounces of milk. Anytime I have a cookie, anytime I have a cookie, I have a glass of milk and I drink the whole milk, even when the cookie's gone. I have this stuff that I just bought that I've really been liking called Moon Brew. It's like a hot cocoa, but it has good ingredients. Instagram ads got me. But I do really like it. And sometimes I'll just add like a tiny bit, maybe like 2 ounces. Um, but for the most part, I'll have like 20, 25 ounces of milk a day. I know that's extreme.
I'm more so thinking it's expensive, but you know what? It is health is wealth.
Health as well. Health as
Oh,
well. I buy 2 gallons every 10 days.
amazing. And
Um,
then you have it so accessible too, it sounds like.
I do, which I know is a luxury not many people have.
It's not, but what I have learned, and you know, Dr. Courtney Brandenburg, now Yurko in Charleston, she has mentioned in the past that it's easier to go online and try and buy raw milk that's labeled for production and sale for dogs. So if you're looking for it, they'll sell it to animals, but they won't sell it to humans. So that's the hack. And, you know, if I get canceled for how to buy raw milk.com for dogs, then so be it. But that is one avenue. But I if you just look up, there's you have sent me like a raw milk, how to find raw milk locally. If you want to send me that, I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, hell yeah, I will.
But okay, so I love that you are on the raw milk train, and if you're not into raw milk, or if you want to be on it but you're not necessarily certain about, like, do your own research. But if you're dealing with gut issues, it sounds like it's been a great fit for you. Love that. That leads me into your go-to healthy meals and snacks. What are some things that we can find you eating? What are some things that we can find you meal prepping or ordering? Like, what are your go-tos?
So I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but I go through phases. So sometimes I am like world's biggest meal prepper and I do the local vegetables. I'm lucky again, I live in Montana, so I have like local farms. I have local farm stands. Um, but I sometimes have noticed if I'm being body conscious or if I'm like if I'm trying to like shed weight or if I'm trying to look a certain way, even if I meal prep, if I grocery shop too much and think too much about it, I actually end up eating more than if I was just to like have a few snacks in the house and like get a salad to go. So I go through phases. I don't think that any which way is necessarily better or worse, et cetera, et cetera. But on the norm, I will get like a salad to go, no meat, obviously, if I'm and light dressing. But if I'm meal prepping, I go to my local store. We don't have any Whole Foods or anything here. It's all like little chains with local vendors
Love
from local,
it.
which is cool. I mean, some things, of course, are imported, but
Like, what are
uh,
your staples in your cart?
oh my God, Huckleberry Gold potatoes. Huckleberry Gold potatoes and Huckleberry, that's a Montana thing. Um, but they taste like crack. They're so good. They taste like a French fry. I shit you not. Oh my God, they're delicious. If you can ever find Huckleberry Gold potatoes, they are outstanding. They have so many health benefits. They're just loaded with good. I love carrots. Carrots and broccoli steamed with some seeds of change, rice. Yes, I do rice and potatoes, sue me. Rice, potatoes. I'll add in any like local vegetable, usually mushrooms. They straight up, I see them in the toilet. I don't eat mushrooms anymore. Um, for whatever reason, I can't digest them.
So
Um,
bizarre.
isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Lots of spinach because it's so easy. You can't taste it. And then just maybe some other random shit, but like that's the staple. Then I get terrapin ridge pesto aioli from the grocery store. No, it's not healthy. Yes, it's gonna help me eat the healthier food. So I pour that shit on my bowl, and it is okay in like a not disgusting amount, but good enough that I'll taste it. And it is so good. That is a veggie bowl that I eat all the time.
See, that's what I like. Let's keep it simple. You just do a bulk of whatever's in the fridge, you chop it up really small, and you put a little bit of dressing. It's like, okay, yes, not a big proponent of like fully weighing out every single thing you eat because it's just sustainably wise, it just doesn't, if
It
you're
doesn't
someone who
work.
gets into their head a lot, it's just not conducive to a healthy lifestyle shift. But I love that you said that. You said it's not healthy, but it helps me eat the healthy stuff. That is
Totally.
what we like to hear. That is what we like to hear. It's not like you're saying, "Oh yeah, I put a tiny bit of spinach on a ton of, oily pizza because it helps me eat the spinach." It's like, okay, maybe the ratios are a little off there, but I love where you're going with that.
Totally. And like I'll go to my nearest brewery. They have these aiolis and these sauces. I'm a big condiment girl. Condiments can help you and be used as a tool for a longer term, bigger goal. So if you're like really trying to eat healthy, 80/20, like use something that you can douse your vegetables with, or like Primal Kitchen mayo, hot sauce, put some eggs on it, something that's like yolky eggs, something that's going to make it taste really, really good. That's my thing. I never want to eat something that tastes like shit. Like even if it's good for me, I'm not one of those people. So I'm going to make it taste good. And even if 20% of it, is like fattening or not good for me or whatever, it has fillers or canola oil or whatever, you know what? It's helping me. I'm still eating the bulk of a nutritious meal. So,
Yes,
big
yes.
proponent of tools in your toolbox.
It's not like, okay, if we're out and you are micromanaging every little thing in your meal, but then you order a pina colada, it's like, okay, let's let's not be so tough on ourselves. And that was literally me last week in Puerto Rico. But let's let's scoot to the next one. And this is what I really wanted to hear from you is because I have, spring is coming. We're starting to get back more into the gym and we're excited. Like skin is showing. What are your favorite workout clothing brands and why? And because I am someone who doesn't necessarily have to deal with like a full, intense, supportive bra, if you know what I mean. So, like, that's not my wheelhouse, but I know lots of good brands. But what do you think as far as jumping around, doing hit classes? You don't want to be stinking or flopping around.
I have really been liking this new brand. It was made by girls who were bigger chested, called Monday Body. And they have
Love Monday anything.
it's so good. They have the thick straps, they have thick material, but it's really, really flattering. And like it was made by girls with tits. So like they get it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Lululemon, you don't do it for me, especially in the bra area. The leggings, yes, yes. And your tops are really cute. But when it comes to like from a support aspect, I do like some of the bras from Beyond Yoga, not all of them. Monday Body, I've been loving. Viore, I'm not crazy about.
Me neither.
I think
I
it's
like
I
it.
think
I love a hiking outfit, maybe a hiking outfit, but I don't need
sure.
it for a workout. Agreed.
Oh, and I just don't think they're that cute. I just don't think it's that cute. Aloe, I'm kind of bored of, and I feel like they went so in the direction of like the influencers and like they're trying to be this brand that kind of like lost their community and lost their customers.
Mm,
And that's one thing that I think Viore still kind of does well-ish. But it makes me just not love them as much. Yes, are they fashionable? Are they awesome? Yeah, but their leggings also pill for me, like in 0.5
mm,
seconds.
mm.
So, yeah, I guess I would have to say that. I do love the one of my most supportive bras is from a brand called All Phoenix. They're I want to say they're maybe Australian, but I'm obsessed with All Phoenix. I think they are fantastic. And
Great
if you want,
name too.
right? And if you want a really, really flattering legging, Nux every time.
Like, how are we spelling Nux? Is this a Nux a few bucks? How much? How are we spelling it?
Nux.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they're like, they have the seamless thing going. Like, I'm obsessed with everything seamless. So, big fan of Nux.
No camel toes over here. Got it.
Those, they're awesome.
I think you know where we're going next with this
Yes, I know.
because I was like, oh, let's start with the simple questions. Let's
Okay, so
start
the
with
kind of
one.
stuff that's like, PC, as we
Let's
say.
let's test the waters a little bit. We and look, this is not a political podcast. This is not a podcast where I'm gonna, there is no judgment here. We have people who listen who disagree with some things, who fully lean into others. Some people who would never, ever, ever get a colonic, but they still listen because they get information on fitness and whatever it may be. This is an episode. Take what you want, leave what you don't. This is just absorb some information that might be different from what your perspective is. That's the kind of table I want to sit at. It's entertaining. It's not always about agreeing with people, but I think that we have lost so much public discourse and ability to have public discourse and actually speak. You mentioned in our last part one episode, you said, I'm not vaccinating the dog. I this is fundamentally a difference of opinions that could really affect the rest of our lives and our relationship. So you mentioned that, and you don't have to speak on anything you don't want to speak on, but you mentioned that boldly and with boldness. So I wanted to lean into that and see where you stood and not where, but why. Why you stand in a certain way and where that came from and what your thoughts are around your own personal health slash what's going on in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to preface this first before I say anything that like what I'm about to say can come with a label that I disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
However, people are going to peg me with this, right or left, but I think that how am I going to say that? How am I going to say this? So I think if someone is anti-vax, they are vehemently speaking out against vaccines. They want to control. They want to control what other people are doing. They want an opinion. They want their opinion to affect other people's lives. They're speaking out against something, anti.
Like no nuance.
I am exactly. I am not that. I'm not here to like try to get you to change your mind and get you to change your opinion. I am pro-choice in every single sense of the word. And when it comes to vaccines, I have done my own research. I have gone down a lot of rabbit holes. I've experienced a lot of things in my own life, in my own body, where I don't want someone to tell me or the child that I'm not ever going to have, but my dog, I don't want someone ever to tell me that I have to put something in my body and have to do it. I want to have the choice and the freedom and the liberty to do whatever I want to my body, whether I believe in something or I don't. I want to be able to
Mm-hmm.
honor my beliefs in like every single aspect of the word. So if you want to go and get vaccines and do whatever and poke a lot of things, that's fine. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to like speak out against it and try to pick a side, this and that and the other. I'm just saying where I stand and what I want to do for my body and any pet that I have, I'm like I said, not gonna have kids, but if I was gonna
Yeah.
have kids, it would just be a choice that I would not partake. I would unsubscribe. I would say
Mm-hmm.
no, thank you.
And if there was one that you said, hey, actually, this one I feel makes sense for our situation, then I'll do that. I feel like so many parents, I've seen a lot of different things, and I don't have children, so I can't even speak to this from experience. But I do know people who never vaccinated any of their children. They wouldn't take any vaccines on their own. This is not, I'm just speaking on what I've observed. And then there are other families who are very much following a protocol based on their trusted doctor that they've had a long time. Neither are wrong. Absolutely neither are wrong. But I do
Mhm.
think there is somewhere in the middle where people get caught and I've seen people ask questions. Maybe they go in and they expect, hey, like I'm gonna come either personally get X shot, or I'm coming in to get this for my child, and maybe they have some questions, and either they aren't given answers or they're given a lot of pushback on answers. And the pushback might not feel like pushback, but the pushback is like, well, this is just standard protocol. This is just standard protocol, blah, 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 blah. And that's, I totally understand. However, it is frustrating if you are trying to, maybe follow a certain protocol, but you have questions. Like, you should be able to ask questions. And that's where I feel like it's gotten so drawn out. I'm like, people are curious. People want to do the best thing for themselves. And they want to feel empowered to be able to ask questions in either regard. And I think that it's also fair for a parent to say, hey, I want some of these, but not all of these, or I want to delay, or I want to like make it their own. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is not like me saying this is what I'm going to do or this is what I've had. Like, this is genuinely just, this is left, right, center,
It's
different.
a conversation. It's
It's
a
a
conversation.
conversation. It's a conversation. And the reason I wanted to ask about this is not because I wanted you to have to put yourself out on a public platform and talk about vaccinations. It's more, you're even opening up about saying, hey, like, I don't want to have kids. So this is just my personal opinion. This isn't like you broadcasting what you will or will not do. I just think it's healthy to have a real conversation.
Totally. And also, why? Why? Like, that's the question. This is standard protocol. Why?
Just
Why?
why? Yeah.
And also, like, we look at ingredient labels. This is one of the big reasons why I formed these opinions on these things that I've formed. We look at ingredient labels before we put food in our bodies. Why are we not looking at the ingredients of an injection or like a vaccine that's going into our body? I call me the world's biggest hypocrite. I get a lot of Botox, but I know that I'm willingly putting a neurotoxin into my body because it's going to make me feel better because I'm going to feel better about myself because I look prettier.
Mm-hmm.
I want to opt out of something that like where the benefit does not outweigh the risk for me. And like all the rabbit holes that I've gone down about health and about looking and feeling your best, they are not involved with vaccines. In fact, everything that I have come across in my own personal experience, my own personal perspective, I think that maybe at a time vaccines were different, like way back when, because I understand the concept behind them. Introducing a disease in a small amount to the body so that the body can familiarize with it
Sure.
and natural immunity. I get that. I understand. And I am not against that. I am against what vaccines have evolved into. If you look at a baby's, and again, I'm not even going to be a mom, but like if you look at a baby's vaccine schedule from like way back when till now, and the correlations of autism in children from way back when till now, and you look at all of these different things, you can't help but question, especially when you look at the different ingredients that have slowly evolved into our vaccines. And you look again, if you went on the Rockefeller rabbit hole of like how vaccines even came to be and how the medical system came to be, you start asking that question, why?
Mm-hmm.
Is this for our health? Like, is this really for our benefit? What really is this doing? What are all these ingredients doing inside my body? And
Mm-hmm.
why do I need them? What's the health benefit? What's not? But then you also look at all of the other adverse effects, all the inserts, all of the stories, the vaccine injury stories that people have, and you're just like, again, it's a personal choice, but it should be a personal choice for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would not, I don't want it. I want to, like I said, unsubscribe. I don't want it. I don't see the benefit of it. I think that they have evolved into something completely different than what a vaccine was intended to be. And I believe that the current medical system is designed to keep you a customer and keep you sick. And I think vaccines nowadays are a big, big, big part of that. I think they're designed to like set children who have to get 70 of healthy baby, 72, correct me if I'm wrong with that number, vaccines in a healthy, brand new baby with no immune system, with no nothing. I think it is designed to put them on a path, and this is a bold statement, I don't care, I'll say it, to keep them in the system, to keep them. I think it starts them on a path that is a moneymaker for the bigger entities in medicine.
Well, I think that we're seeing a lot of conversations happening now that we didn't see even 3 4 years ago, and more questions are being asked, more people are doing different research, more people are just interested in health overall, whether or not they are changing opinions. I think that there's just so much information out there to access that if anybody is out there and doesn't want to do their own research, I also agree with that. Go do your thing. Like if you're do does not matter. But for those that do want to have an opinion that maybe goes against the grain, I think that, you know, that is what makes it us a free country. Having conversations and being able to be friends. All I have friends who believe in completely opposite things. I have people that believe exactly what I believe. I have people that, you know, but we're all just people. We are all flawed and we're all right and we're all wrong when we want to be. And there's going to be research out there to defend anything we want to believe, and I think it's just important to be able to have that conversation. That's really just the long and short of it. But I
I think,
appreciate you being candid, and I appreciate you being able to articulate your opinions and not be pushy and just say, "Hey, this is what I believe." That's okay.
and I think that's one big thing that my relationship taught me because, he was so we just believed differently in those things. Like he was in medical sales, he was in the hospitals all the time, so he was from a medical family. So it really taught me to have an open mind. And I really think I got a really good um, perspective of that way of thinking, and as well as my own way of thinking.
Yeah.
But I think so often we also just need to learn to like do what feels right.
Yeah.
If it doesn't feel right, then like don't do it. If something, I
Or
remember
ask about it. Yeah.
or ask about it and ask questions, and we shouldn't immediately be demonized just because we're questioning the status quo. And I feel like that's what's happening. And it's just not okay with me. I don't think it's cool. So ask the
Amen,
question.
Brittany Carden. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. With that being said, my last question for you is actually my last two, and we're going to rapid fire these. What, what's your current favorite conspiracy theory? You have
The
30
Elon,
seconds.
the Elon's an alien. I think
That
he's an
Elon,
alien.
Elon
Did
is
you
an
see
alien.
that weird head thing that he did? Like I think he is a hybrid, like extraterrestrial dude that is getting information and like feeding it down. Okay, done.
Well, now he's on his 14th, 15th, 17th, 18th, 20th child. So he's just lots of little aliens. Okay, I like that one. Haven't heard that one yet, but I'm definitely going to give it a Google.
I'll make
Before
a comment.
we before we let you go, because you are so much fun and I've loved having you on here, where can people find you and what are you giving away so graciously for the Hotter Than Health community as far as your virtual platform?
Yes, so I have online yoga, sculpt, and bar classes. If you've never taken a class with me, come on, discounted membership. Will you put the code in the show notes? I
Yes,
forget
it's
the note
code
from
HTH.
HTH. So you get a discounted membership. I think it's 20% off of a membership. Um, yeah, that's really, I've just decided I have so many students around the country, because I've lived a lot of places. So I just decided I got to put my teaching online and give people some access to this. So I've gotten really good feedback on it so far. If you're into yoga, like I said, yoga bar or sculpt, hop on in, join it. You can cancel it anytime. Again, I'm all pro-choice. So if you want to leave, you leave. You cancel, okay?
I
No,
love you. You're so funny. And where can people find you?
It's my website is www.thisisbrittanycarden.com. And if you're a fitness instructor or you are wanting to be in the fitness space from a studio owner or a fitness instructor capacity, I'm going to start putting some of my workshops online that teaches you music, energy, playlist building, anatomy, all the things. So that's coming soon. And my Instagram is just at my name, at Brittany Carden. DM me, slide in.
I'll
Slide
put
in.
this all in the show notes. And Brittany, you are wise, you are hilarious, you are bold, and I appreciate you. I know Hotter Than Health is going to enjoy this quote unquote rapid fire hilarious conspiracy theory episode. But
Oh,
thank you
you,
so much for
girl.
your time. And we're going to have you on for a part 3, 4, 5 coming up. You're the best. Thank you, Brittany.
Mwah.